We're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest race course, and this is Indy Live.
And I'm Gary Lee with the driver who won this all back in 1990. This is Ari Leyendijk. In fact, he was the pole sitter last year, finished second to Emerson Fittipaldi, and just today went over 225 miles an hour to give him the fastest Lola with the Ilmore V8 power plant. And he goes out for a hot lap to see perhaps we can better that during happy hour here at the Brickyard.
Magnificent day in Indianapolis, Indiana, here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ari Leyendijk, there he is on the warm-up lane, moving out to the 2.5-mile oval to continue practice for the running of the Indianapolis 500 and the run for the pole this weekend on Saturday. I'm Paul Page with Derek Daly, and it's been another magnificent day for practice. Beautiful blue skies overhead, dotted with a few white clouds. You couldn't ask for better weather, and they say that's what we'll in fact have through at least Saturday, so we've got some great excitement coming up. Now, one of our friends on CompuServe at Race Information Service was asking Derek about trap speeds, and we've been giving overall lap averages, but what does that mean in different parts of the race course?
The funny thing about trap speeds, I have never ever seen so much interest in trap speeds here at the Speedway. It's usually just the average lap speed, but everybody wants to know what's the Mercedes doing to the trap, which is basically the high speed down the back straight and down the front straight. Today we saw speeds of 247, was it, miles an hour from the Penske?
Exactly.
And there's some people that think we may see 250 miles an hour down the straight.
When you look at some of the other cars and their lap speeds, now, you take the average lap, say you're at about a 225 for your average Lola. They have antennas implanted in the surface of this track as we continue to watch, Ari, and they sense the car's passage over those antennas to the 10,000th of a second, so they're incredibly accurate. There's a trap right at the start-finish line. It's a fairly short one, only about 10 yards long. Then there is another trap that's larger going into the first turn at the end of the front stretch, one in the first turn, second turn, one on the back stretch going into the third turn, then the third turn and the fourth turn itself. And for the average Lola, you may see 233, 234 at the end of the front stretch, where Ari Leyendijk is heading now, and then he'll cool off to maybe 221, lose 3 or 4 miles an hour, right?
And to give you an idea, when you look at the trap speed, the overall lap time or lap speed is usually 10 miles an hour slower. If you do 235 down the straight, you'll have an average lap speed of 225, which is why the Penske question keeps coming up. If they do 244 or 46 down the back straight, will they do 234 or 236 if they keep their foot in it? I don't know. I'm not saying they put their foot in it.
Part of the remainder of that, too, is what Bobby Rahal is doing, because those speeds aren't nearly as good. We'll talk a little more about that later.
That is something we should discuss later on, because there is no doubt the Honda is not producing the horsepower here for Bobby Rahal. He was probably the biggest story last year here when he failed to qualify with the True Sports chassis. He may have another decision to be made here if that Honda doesn't produce enough horsepower.
We've got somebody now. Let's get Parnelli Jones just came by here. Parnelli Jones. Here's the first guy to run what was then the 150-mile-an-hour barrier, which for all of us was an awesome barrier. It was a speed that people didn't imagine could be run there in 62, 63.
Well, that's true, but, you know, the size of the tires that we had were very narrow, and, you know, we didn't have the horsepower that they have today, and we didn't have the ground effect, and we probably didn't have the talent.
Oh, we had the talent. Guys, like, when you think about it, I know Derek has many times said, you know, you look at those skinny little tires in those cars, how did the guys do it?
Well, I tell you, I jumped in my Roadster and ran it around here a couple years ago, you know, during the pace.
Oh, and you wondered how you did it.
Yeah, I wondered how I did that, yeah.
Do you ever have a yearning, Parnelli, to jump into the modern-day racing car with all that downforce just to feel what it's like?
Yeah, there's a great curiosity there, and, you know, people all the time come up to me and they say, well, gee, how fast did you run? And I said, well, gee, I run 160 miles an hour.
Yeah.
66 in a turbine car. And I've feel real confident that I could go out there in one of these cars and run over 200 miles an hour. And I think, you know, then when they asked me that question, at least I had to have a 200-mile-an-hour answer. But I don't know. You know, it's a younger guy's game, and you know, I let my boys come along and do something like that.
You know, it's amazing the way this place grows. For example, if you stood here the year that you turned your 150 or the year that you won, would you have on a day like this, on a Thursday, looked up and seen this many people?
Well, you know, we have more people now. You know, we have more race drivers, and we have more forms of racing that, you know, where you have young lions being able to come here. And, you know, I think the talent's really getting better because you have so many forms of other racing. And I think it's same with the people. I mean, there's more people. You know, the attendance is up everywhere in all kinds of sports, and certainly automobile racing, and what's been happening with you guys and everything with onboard cameras. Certainly a great plug for racing.
All right, well, Parnell, I know you got to get over to the pace car and check some things out there because you're going to be driving it on race day. Let's go down the pits just a bit because there have been some substantial changes here. Here's Gary Lee.
And Paul, those changes are getting a big thumbs up. First of all, this pit wall has been moved this year 6.5 feet this direction, giving more room for the crew members and also equipment. Now, the actual work area is concrete, so soft asphalt. The hot pit is asphalt, 2 lanes wide. And that outside grassy strip area that last year was 11 feet wide for the pit board guys to work has now been paved, and only 4 feet separate those 2 walls. But once again, so far, it's getting a big thumbs up from drivers and crew members.
So there you get an idea of how the pits have changed here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking over to check some of the top speeds. Emerson Fittipaldi quick for the day, and he's running speeds at 228.6 miles an hour. The rest of the Penske team behind him with Paul Tracy in second quick, and then Michael Andretti finally ringing in his third quick of the day at 227 miles an hour. So we'll keep track of these throughout the afternoon, and we'll be back in just a moment live for Minutes. And then see how it looks on all 4 corners of the car. And that pretty much tells them how the suspension's working, doesn't it?
Exactly. If you have too much push, the tire temperatures on the right front will tell you that. The driver doesn't have to tell you. And if the car is loose, the tire temperatures on the rear will tell the Goodyear engineer. And that's the scary part if the car is loose.
All right, we mentioned earlier that Bobby Rahal is very quickly becoming a very big story here. Remember, last year, he did not qualify for the Indy 500. He was bumped out on the last day. He has that Honda engine. That's what he was trying last year. This year, it's exactly the same thing. His straightaway speed, in fact, the top one we've seen at the high-speed area is like 223 miles an hour. That's going to fall off 3 in the turn, so he's going to be at 221 at best, and that's not good enough.
Which is about what his best speed has been. Now, tomorrow's Friday. We know they will probably put in 2 qualifying engines. They are bound to have a little bit more power. I think, in fairness to the team, they need to run those engines first and then make a decision as to whether they think they'll have enough power. But to be honest, I don't know what decision there is to make. I don't know whether they have the option to try something else. I hate to say it, but his failure last year generated more coverage for Bobby Rahal and for Miller Genuine Draft than he would have if he scraped onto the back of the grid. So I don't know.
Well, maybe we can get some straight answers right now because Gary Lee is down in the Hogan practice pits. Gary?
Well, actually, during the month of May, Bobby Rahal says he's the driver. Carl Hogan, here on the pit wall with me, is the owner. Now, everybody second guesses everybody out here during the month of May. The big question right now is, will you switch to a Cosworth? You went 221 today with Bobby, and you tell me there is no plans?
Well, I don't think we're quite through testing yet. I mean, I think it's getting very close. I think we've only got another day to go before we'll know. We're still working with the car. It certainly isn't promising to look at our trap speeds with some of the others, so but it's premature right now. I mean, we haven't talked to Cosworth.
But what's the bewitching hour? You're saying you're still looking at some numbers, but you tell me now you don't have a Cosworth, so what recourse do you have?
Well, I think Saturday afternoon is going to tell the tale because we'll know then what everyone else is going to do, and there's a lot of cars that seem to be right around the 221, 222 range, and, you know, we've done a 221, so we'll just have to see.
So you're telling me, if I can read into this, you are committed to the Honda program. There will not be an engine switch in this race team this May.
I didn't say that.
All right. You guys figured out he's running for office. That was a political answer.
Your heart has to go out to Carl Hogan and Bobby Ray Hall. They're faced with a very, very tough decision. So here at Indianapolis, bright blue skies and a green light on the racetrack. We'll be back. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the green light is still on. Emerson Fittipaldi is still fast for the day at 228.6. Nothing has changed in those top 10 speeds that we gave you earlier. One name that always is magic here at Indianapolis is that of the great A.J. Foyt. He's with Gary.
Now, the legendary A.J., before we talk about your team this May, I think you have something to clarify with regards to Derek Daly, do you not?
Well, you know, I got accused the other night that Derek and I had a little fisticuff or something. I don't know. Everybody's been calling me and asking me what happened. Not that I haven't felt like doing it to him, but we never have. We're still friends.
Yeah, I'd put my money on you, pal. Well, we'll have Derek explain why his hand's all taped up. Now, a rookie driver. Brian Herta, you took him through rookie orientation, and a veteran, your godson, John Andretti. How's the program going first with the rookies?
Well, I think we're doing real well. We haven't rushed Brian at all, and I think he's come along very good. You know, it's hard with a rookie here to try to outrun Mario Andretti or Fittipaldi or A.J. Foyt. You never know. But, no, I think they're doing real well. We still got some miles an hour in the cars. But we got to get them comfortable before they can run fast.
Now, you said or A.J. Foyt. You're not going to climb back in, are you? You've retired 3 or 4 times. You're going to be an owner, right?
Well, that's true. I've never retired but last year when I quit. That was the first time, but no, I don't want to have to get back in them. You never know. I might have to, though.
All right, Derek, it's up to you to explain that bandage on your hand because it wasn't a fist fight with Tex.
Listen, I absolutely am glad that A.J. came in to tell him that. I knew if Tex got a hold of him, it'd be more than a bandaged hand. Derek, your time for rebuttal.
Let me tell you, the reason he denies it is because the lawyers have it in their hands right now. But listen, let me move on here. A man that's in casual clothes, which he shouldn't really be, is Scott Pruitt, one of the well-known names here. But Scott, you are currently right in the middle of the exciting Firestone test program. How's that going?
It's going great. Actually, I'm down here for a couple reasons. For Bridgestone, Firestone, for Sprint, and just a chance to look around and see what's going on. But so far, the testing has been going great. I mean, it's the best place for me to be. We're moving ahead. The tires are coming along great. And I'm just really anxious to get to a point where we go back racing.
And when do you think that will be?
95. We're not going to do any active competition 94 at all. Bridgestone Firestone's been real smart about what they want to do. They want to announce their program the first year. They want to do a complete year of testing, and they've been pretty conservative about what they're doing, and then go back to racing next year.
We all look forward to the tire war between Goodyear and Firestone.
That's because it means double up on the jackets. You can get one of each. I went through it once before. Well, they continue with a green light here at Indianapolis. Nothing has changed in the top speeds. We'll continue to watch the action, and we'll be back with you right after these messages. We're back live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Live coverage here today, but also on Sunday, we will have coverage of the time trials for the Indianapolis 500 live at 3 o'clock Eastern and throughout the remainder of the afternoon. Now back live in the pit area at Indianapolis. Very familiar face. Oh, boy, too familiar as far as I'm concerned. Great Bobby Unser, 3-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. You're in here. You've got a little bit of business with everybody. What are you planning for the weekend?
I think there's going to be a new record for one thing.
Yeah, how big?
I don't know how much. I'd be kind of dumb to predict that, but I really think it's going to be one of the Mercedes engines.
Wait a minute. Kind of dumb? Go ahead. Take a shot at it, Bobby.
Oh, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see 233.
Really?
Maybe even 234. I do believe that I predicted that Long Beach, California would be 250 down the straightaway, and already saw 247 today, Paul.
Yeah, they have really. The Mercedes engine has been incredible here today. What do you think of that whole engine program that surprised everybody, including you? Little Al didn't tell you a thing about it, did he?
No, they kept the secret good. It was worse than the KGB operating. I think think what you're going to see is they're going to rock it down the straightaways probably 250 miles an hour at least. And I think they're going to get them handling in the corners. And that's going to boost the speeds up to probably 233, 235, I think. 234, rather.
Speaking of speeds, we've just gone yellow and no indication that it's for any real problem. We're seeing Fittipaldi now up above 230 miles an hour. What about some of the aerodynamics on these cars? Well, Derek Daly takes a look.
One of the unusual designs here at the Speedway this month is the Reynard front wings. In fact, they almost look broken. It's an anhedral drooping wing design. We've taken the center mount and raised it up, allowing a clear air passage underneath the car because the underside of the car generates more than 60% of the downforce. Now consider this. How much of a ride height change do you think Michael can feel in the car? Well, let me tell you this. A human hair is about 2,000 of an inch in thickness. 5 times or 5 human hairs is 10,000. That's the type of change that Michael can feel in the ride height, particularly at the front of this car. These cars are that sensitive.
So at Indianapolis now, for the first time during our show today, we have a yellow light on, and it's just a track inspection. No serious problem out there. We'll be back to talk with one of the young rookies of the 500 after this. Let's go down to the pits again and Gary Lee.
Standing by with Robbie Gordon, who prepares for his second Indy 500 now as a sophomore in Walker Motorsports. And today, 2:26.9. Was that an easy run?
Well, when the car's right, it is pretty easy to do that. We did that run pretty easy today, and we did that right about 1 o'clock. So we're looking forward to going out here in happy hour and see what we got left in the car.
And how much more is left then?
Well, I don't know. Emma did like a 227 earlier today. Just went out and did a 230. Maybe we'll get in the 228, 229 range.
Where's your car right now?
She's rolling out here.
All right, it's time for you to go back to work. We'll go back to Paul.
Well, we mentioned that we'd have a young rookie here for you as well. Here is Scott Sharp, who is rookie only to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You're loving every minute of this, aren't you?
I am. It's fantastic. I'm having the time of my life so far.
What kind of challenges do you think you face here? What is different about this place in terms of driving?
Well, obviously, it's the speed. For sure. I've never been really much over 200 miles an hour before, so trying to get used to that and just trying to be as patient. That's the big thing. You spend so much time in the car, and you can so easily get frustrated by the little changes not making the car go so much faster that it gets frustrating.
What about when you're out on that racetrack and some of the great names are there alongside of you? I mean, you're a young guy. These had to be your heroes as a kid.
Well, definitely. It's wild thinking that as we're inching up, we're getting closer to them, that we're actually on the same track. I'm actually hopefully going to end up competing in the same race with some of these guys.
Now, you're a long, long way from Trans Am, but I believe yesterday you had your first Speedway spook test over at Turn 2.
A little bit, yeah. The wind sort of gusted up one time and really pushed me close to the wall. And
a little bit?
There was I don't think it was much more than dust between my tire and the wall. I came in pretty quick.
He is young because he calls that a little bit here at the Speedway.
Well, we wish you the best throughout the month of May, Scott Sharp. Let's take a look here at some of the other top speeds of this month. And, of course, today, just a few moments ago, Emerson Fittipaldi jumped up to 230.438 miles an hour. Now, Derek Daly, we talked about Bobby Rahal, their decision. We heard from Carl Hogan. That's going to be a very big story.
I think Carl Hogan made some interesting comments that tomorrow will be the day. I mean, we have to remember here, we also have corporate involvement. Honda are very cognizant that Mercedes-Benz have come in here with a brand new engine, and they are the stars of the show here. So Honda as a corporation cannot afford to be, I don't want to say embarrassed, but they don't want to be at the back of the field. Perhaps it might be better sometimes to just go away and do some more homework, because this is not easy, this game.
It certainly is a very sensitive issue. You know, one of the good stories, you like to end a little light here. Chip Ganassi has one of those pagers we showed you the other day, and you can set an alarm on it and have it beep, for example, whenever a new fast speed is set in. Well, Chip didn't know exactly how to put it together, so he put a couple things in. It started beeping all night long. He finally took it out and threw it in his car to get it away from him. That's it for today. We'll have 2 live reports from here at the Speedway tomorrow. I'm Paul Page for Derek Daly and Gary Lee. So long from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Formula One circuit attempts to recover from the tragic death of Brazilian superstar Ayrton Senna, there was more tragedy today during the first day of practice for Sunday's Monaco Grand Prix. A serious crash involving 25-year-old Austrian driver Karl Windlinger. He crashed into a guardrail. Windlinger was unconscious when he was removed from his car and rushed to a nearby hospital. He remains in a deep coma and is in very serious condition. Germany's Michael Schumacher went on to post the fastest qualifying time today. Understandably, the drivers were very concerned about Windlinger, but Michael Schumacher, who is favored to win, posted the fastest qualifying time. The first row for the start of Sunday's event will be left empty in honor of Senna and Roland Ratzenberger, who also died in a crash 2 weeks ago in Italy. Practicing continued today at the old Brickyard. Well, that tower says it all. Scott Goodyear toiling at the Brickyard. His pit crew not happy with this time of only 217 miles per hour. But Arie Luyendyk fared a bit better. His time, 225. But the top speed today at the old Brickyard, led by Penske teammates Emerson Fittipaldi and Paul Tracy, both better than 228 miles per hour.